Welcome back to my channel, Techno Trend Zone. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most talked about, hotly debated, and speculated about cameras on the horizon, the Nikon Z7 III, a camera that has sparked heated discussions, confusion, and conflicting reports all across the photography and tech community. The mirrorless camera revolution has been in full swing for years now, but few anticipated that Nikon's Z7 III would become one of the most controversial pre-release stories in the modern camera era. As rumors swirl and spec sheets clash, both photographers and industry insiders are asking, what is the Nikon Z7 III really going to be? And perhaps more importantly, can we trust any of the information that's circulating, from debates over sensor technology to speculations about Nikon's internal strategy shifts? The upcoming Nikon Z7 III has become a focal point in the ongoing battle for mirrorless supremacy. Let's break it all down carefully so you can make sense of what's real, what's hype, and what it could mean for your next big photography investment. At the very core of this swirling storm is the camera's sensor choice. In the world of mirrorless and DSLR cameras, the sensor isn't just a component, it's the heart and soul of the camera. It defines image quality, dynamic range, low light capability, and even how the colors render. Historically, Nikon's Z7 series has always prioritized stellar still photography with uncompromising attention to detail, color accuracy, and resolution. The Nikon Z7 II currently boasts a 45.7 megapixel full-frame sensor sourced from Sony, offering a perfect balance between file size and resolution for most professional needs. But now, things might be taking a dramatic turn. Earlier speculation suggested that Nikon might upgrade to Sony's renowned 61 megapixel sensor, the one used in the Alpha 7 RV, widely recognized for its sharpness and dynamic range. However, more recent reports suggest something far more daring. Nikon could be breaking away from Sony and adopting a brand new 67 megapixel sensor manufactured by Tower Semiconductor. If true, this would be a seismic shift in Nikon's sensor sourcing strategy. Although Tower Jazz has been used in Nikon's APS-C models like the Z50 and ZFC, moving to a Tower Jazz sensor in a flagship full-frame camera would be unprecedented for Nikon. This move wouldn't just be a technical footnote, it could represent a fundamental shift in Nikon's philosophy. While rivals like Canon and Sony continue to develop or tightly control their sensor pipelines, Nikon's pivot to a third-party manufacturer could be an attempt to carve out a unique sensor signature, potentially differentiating the Nikon Z7 III from its competitors in terms of color science, noise control, and overall image rendering. But here's the concern: will Tower Jazz's sensor performance live up to the gold standard Nikon users have come to expect from Sony's proven sensors? Will it deliver the color fidelity, dynamic range, and low-light performance that photographers demand, especially in a camera targeting the high-resolution crowd? Adding more intrigue to this puzzle is the mixed messaging about whether the Nikon Z7 III is aimed strictly at photographers or if it's also intended to compete with the growing wave of hybrid mirrorless cameras that can deliver both high-end photos and advanced video performance. Some leaks claim the Nikon Z7 III will feature 8K video at 30p, along with internal ProRes RAW recording, which would position it as a serious hybrid camera for content creators, filmmakers, and multimedia professionals. But here's where things get tricky. 8K video on a 67 megapixel sensor is theoretically possible, but it brings serious challenges like heat management, processing bottlenecks, and rolling shutter issues. Nikon's history in this segment suggests they tend to prioritize photography-first designs rather than going all-in on video-centric features like Canon's R5 or Sony's A7S III. Some insiders believe the video specs have been blown out of proportion, possibly confused with features from other Nikon lines like the Z8. Others suggest that Nikon might opt for oversampled 6K recording to balance sharp video with reduced heat generation, possibly borrowing some cooling technology from the Z8's design. For hybrid shooters who switch frequently between video and stills, this could be a crucial selling point, if it materializes. But right now, the waters remain murky. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: pricing. The Nikon Z7 II originally launched at $2,999, but due to rising production costs, inflation, and supply chain challenges, the Nikon Z7 III is rumored to land at around $3,499. Here's the kicker: this places it alarmingly close to the Nikon Z8, a faster, more video-oriented powerhouse with stacked sensor technology and superior video capabilities. So the big question becomes, can Nikon clearly separate the Z7 III from the Z8, or are they at risk of cannibalizing their own sales? For Nikon to justify the Z7 III's higher price, it will likely lean heavily on ultra-high-resolution photography, superior detail for landscape, portrait, and commercial photographers, and potentially exclusive image processing features. But it's a tightrope walk. The Z7 III must offer enough of an advantage over its predecessor to warrant an upgrade while also steering clear of the Z8's hybrid feature set. Competition is fierce in the mirrorless camera space. Canon's strategy, especially with the R5, focuses on speed, reliability, and robust autofocus rather than chasing ultra-high megapixels. Canon seems content to cap resolution at 45 megapixels for now. This leaves Nikon an opening to dominate the high megapixel full-frame market, assuming it can execute the Nikon Z7 III properly. But Sony remains the brand to beat, especially with the A7RV, which continues to impress with cutting-edge AI autofocus, deep learning subject detection, and versatile video features. Nikon is rumored to include 493-point phase detect autofocus in the Z7 III, potentially enhanced by AI-powered subject tracking. However, critics have been quick to remind us that similar promises were made for the Z6 II and Z7 II, neither of which quite matched Sony's real-time autofocus performance. In terms of ergonomics and handling, Nikon is expected to stick with its winning formula. The Z7 III will likely retain the magnesium alloy chassis, weather sealing, and comfortable grip that Nikon mirrorless users already love. Battery life will also see incremental improvements, powered by the efficient X7 processor, with an expected rating of around 680 shots per charge. While this is a step up from the Z7 II, it still lags behind the battery life of traditional DSLRs, which could be a sticking point for professionals shooting long events or multi-day projects. Perhaps the biggest hurdle facing Nikon isn't the hardware, it's the communication breakdown. Conflicting reports, vague leaks, and Nikon's radio silence have created an atmosphere of doubt and frustration. Some Nikon insiders have even accused certain rumor sites of fabricating specs to generate clicks, further eroding trust. An alleged leak from Nikon China, showing a Tower Jazz sensor prototype, briefly surfaced online before being quickly removed, only adding more fuel to the speculative fire. The timeline also complicates things. Nikon is reportedly eyeing a release window between August and November 2025, but with the Z6 III and Z8 already available, many potential buyers are holding back, waiting for clearer answers. If Nikon can't regain control of the narrative soon, they risk losing momentum in a market where Sony and Canon continue to move aggressively. Final thoughts. Thanks for joining me today. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into camera news and mirrorless trends, don't forget to hit that like